I made a discovery the other week. There's this thrift store somewhat close to where I live that I've been going to for a few years. A couple weeks ago, I walked in, not really thinking about it, just towards the end of my day, popping into the store to see if there was anything. And to my surprise, the entire location had moved to a bins model. Now, you've probably seen something like the Goodwill bins on YouTube videos where they have the big blue bins and everybody goes through them, etc., etc. This is not a Goodwill, by the way. It is a semi-local chain, support local causes, etc. They had moved to a bins model, and this location had moved to a clearance store, which I'm perfectly okay with. At the time, I was not really okay with it because I wasn't in the mood for it that day, but it was on my mind for another week or so, and I was like, you know what, let me give it a fair shot. So the first day that I went there, I think I found a few things, maybe spent $17. I've already got that listed, so we won't be going over that today. Yesterday and today I went back. Yesterday I spent $25, and then today I went pretty early and I spent about $117. I spent $117 there. And I gotta say, it was worth it. To say that, especially today, I found some good stuff would be a bit of an understatement. There are some really nice pieces that are mixed in here, but I'm going to start with the stuff that I got yesterday. So one of the first pieces that I found yesterday was this vintage Made in USA Russell Athletic brown blank crew neck sweater. Surprisingly, vintage blanks can do pretty okay. This one sells probably anywhere in the 25 to 40 range, depending on how patient I want to be. I'm probably going to list it maybe $29.95, $34.95 and take the first offer that comes. And this is really nice though, because there are people who just like the material of the older crew necks and just overall the older stuff, which I completely understand and agree with. But also, if somebody does want to do anything creative and they want to do it on a vintage Made in USA Russell, this is good for them. So, vintage Made in USA Russell crew neck. This is a 2014 MLB All-Star Game National League jersey. And you can tell that this is kind of the real deal because it has the numbers for the size rather than an actual like medium, large, extra large. Usually if it has the numbers, you know it's at least an authentic replication of the jersey. I would say this is not actually a player's jersey, just because usually players' jerseys will have like a +2 length or something like that, and also the tags won't be as clear. They might have something with a name patch, even if it's cross-stock or empty. So I wouldn't say that this is team issue, but I will say that this is an authentic replica from Majestic of the 2014 MLB All-Star Game jersey, and this sells for around $30 to $40, a bit slower sell-through rate, but paying $3 for it, I'm a little bit more flexible on the sell-through rate. That's because it gives me the ability to be a lot more competitive with pricing, and at the end of the day, like, turning $3 into $30 is more than enough for me, even if I have to hold it for a month longer or sell it eventually for $20. Like, I'm fine with that. I'm still learning this camera angle, so if you like this angle better and you think I should stick with this, feel free to let me know in the comments. Appreciate that. Alright, so it's a Patagonia Bear hoodie. It's got a burgundy maroon color to it. It's an extra small. Overall, just nice hoodie. It's got a little bit of, like, the screen print on this is coming off a little bit. And it just kind of has that fade, so I might use, like, faded as a keyword, which is another keyword that I'm starting to explore because I feel like it's the way people oftentimes describe clothes when they're talking about them, like faded jeans. And it's a good way to describe it. Like if somebody looks at it and they're like, oh yeah, well, the screen print is a little bit faded. This is a brand that definitely should be aware of. This is a brand called Todd Snyder. Most of their pieces sell pretty well. I would say that this is like a Hawaiian resort shirt. Resort shirt is another keyword for Hawaiian shirts that I'm starting to add in pretty regularly. And I believe this is cotton. This will sell in the 40-ish range. Maybe if I was really patient, I could get 50 for it. But Todd Snyder overall is a really high-quality brand. The sell-through, depending on the piece, might be a little bit low, but generally speaking, especially if you're getting it under $10, it's kind of an instant pickup. I would say maybe even under 15, depending on how much you're willing to pay for it. Most of their pieces will sell for 30, 40, 50 plus. This one probably around 40, and I got it for 3. Here's a little rule at the thrift. If you see a blazer that has gold buttons or brass buttons, generally you want to look it up. So this is a woman's Talbot's Petite collection, 100% wool, definitely older. I don't know if I would go so far as to say vintage, but definitely early to mid 2000s at the latest. 100% wool, gold button woman's blazer, and it's a size 4. Brands like Talbot's and Charter Club are ones that I don't necessarily pick up a lot. However, it's one that I actually do check the materials on frequently, because usually they do use very good materials, at least as of the time of this recording. Some of the basics still not going to be worth it, but something like this, I know I can, no matter what happens, I can get $20 for this. And realistically speaking, I think I could get closer to 30, 35. So again, for $3, happy to do that. All right, and last one from yesterday is a brand called Mack Weldon. And this is like a drawstring, light blue sweatpant kind of deal. I don't remember the size. Mack Weldon does not have the fastest sell-through rate, but it is consistent, and it is also something where there's pretty decent quality there. A lot of their basics, I would say, were better maybe a year or so ago. I actually did not comp this, so you might look this up and be like, wow, that makes 0 sense. It's got a 20% sell-through rate. What are you doing? And I might agree with you. But again, for $3, I've sold this brand before. To my memory, it hasn't sat around a lot when I've had it. My thought process is, sure, it's $3. I want to have a lot of stuff being listed consistently, because even if I sell this for $10, I still tripled my money on it. And I'm telling the eBay algorithm that I am consistently listing stuff. This is a brand called Tess. It is 100% silk. Kind of like a sheer blouse type thing. Almost has like a safari type of feel. Yeah, I was surprised by this. I just looked it up because it was 100% silk. I didn't know anything about the brand. It's obviously vintage, looking at the tag. And saw that there was reasonable sales volume, decent sell-through rate, and it was selling for around $25. Wrangler. And you can tell from the tag that this is not necessarily vintage, but it's also not from like the past couple years, because they moved to like a almost paper-looking drop tag recently. This is a Wrangler kind of indigo denim pearl snap shirt, Western shirt. You can tell by that on the back, as well as the pearl snap on the front, the 2 pockets. I don't know, I'd have to comp it, but probably $29.95 is what I would list it for. Maybe if I'm being aggressive, $34.95, $39.95. I don't really expect this to be higher. The ones that have really crazy patterns, and there's actually a specific keyword for it, because I know there's kind of a culture around some of the patterns that I am a bit too culturally illiterate to know about. But I do know there's a really good keyword for the ones that have really bold patterns. And you could probably figure that out by just typing in Wrangler Pearl Snap and then searching highest to lowest in sales, and you'll see what I'm talking about. This is a brand that I do not often buy. It's a brand called Kalaheo. It is a made in Hawaii shirt. The reason I bought this is actually because of the print. It has a couple naval battleships on it. And I believe this is commemorating Pearl Harbor. Not because my history is good, but because it seemed like from the keywords people were using when I searched it up. It has USS Oklahoma and USS Arizona on it, and I believe that this is in memorial to Pearl Harbor. Sells for around $20 or $25. This is a hooded Nike running packable reflective windbreaker. Those last 2 keywords, the packable and the reflective, are really key. If it's very, very light and thin, and then you can see it's reflective by this stripe over here, it's a very strong keyword, especially if you're finding camping gear or outdoors gear. Packable is a really, really good keyword to use. There's the sell-through, actually, when I was just like looking up Nike running packable windbreaker, was not necessarily crazy, but there was a lot of sales volume. So again, I know I can beat people on price. I know I can price this competitively. I need to do a little bit more research, but I would say anywhere from 15 to at most 30 And if I listed it for 30, I would be sitting on it for way longer. Oh, and I actually think I have 2 more pieces here from yesterday. This is a brand called Dixon. They usually do flannels, and most of their flannels will have like a name right over here, and they're kind of cheeky, fun, creative names for their different shirts, and usually like different ones will sell differently, but most of them sell pretty good. They definitely feel like they've been making a lot more of them because the sales price has definitely come down on the secondary market, and occasionally on Facebook Marketplace I'll see somebody that has like a lot of like 30 of them. So I think there's like a mix of a collector market around it, but they've also seemed to have made a lot to tap into that. But this is not that. It is from the same brand, Dixxon, but this is kind of like a performance material. It's got a hammer and a wrench on it, short sleeve, button down performance material shirt. I think I said performance material twice. But yeah, just a regular short sleeve 2XL. And then this is a brand that I have not sold before, but I had heard the name and I checked out the name plus the style. And this, even though the sell-through wasn't amazing, there was a lot of sales volume. So this is a brand called Silver Jeans, and this is the Zach. And again, these weren't necessarily, if I remember right, the sell-through was maybe like 40%, but there was like 600 sales for this specific style name. So I was like, you know what, like, again, I can beat people on price right now, so I'll grab it for $3. And I would say that these will sell for maybe 20 to 30-ish. And back to items from today. This is Wrangler, and you're like, why are you buying Wrangler? And it's a fair question. Made in the USA. This is definitely a newer-ish made in the USA one, because their older ones actually have it on the inside of the zipper, which I'll show you in a second. This is just a regular blue wash Wrangler vintage jeans. I'll list these for $19.95 and they'll sell for $15. Wrangler is interesting because, especially like the vintage stuff, it fits every metric for true vintage that you could ever want. But for whatever reason, it just does not command the same secondary market. Like a pair of vintage made in USA Wrangler jeans, if you list them for $30, you're going to be sitting on them for a while. The market on them really is around $20. So maybe 25, which I think will change over time. For right now, that's where it is. This is a pair of Levi's, and it is the XX Chino Easy. I actually did not know about this like Easy brand. I'm guessing it's like their comfort waist model. A little bit of give to the waist. These look like they have, I think it was around a 60 or 70% sell-through rate on these. And that's specifically the XX Chino Easy model. And it looks like it'll sell for 15 to 25-ish. The golden rule, especially nowadays, is to stay away from skinny jeans, but surprisingly, these were okay. So if you see this, you may already know what this is. This is a brand called Miss Me. Has a lot of like bedazzled, embellished maybe. Embellished and bedazzled features. It's a size 30, and this is the skinny model. But surprisingly, it looks like these are still selling in the 30 to 40 range pretty consistently, even in the anti-skinny jeans model era that we're in right now. So, again, for $3, sure. Sometimes you buy something because you know how to describe it, even if the brand is not amazing. This is a brand called Rem Garson. I believe it's made in Korea, and these are 100% leather pants. So woman's size 4. And it does have a little bit of a flare to the leg. And that's kind of why I bought it, was because I will be able to use like the flare or the boot cut keyword. I do think that these sell like as like woman's motorcycle pants, but the sell-through was really bad. There was like 70 of them listed and there was maybe 7 of them sold. But because these had a little bit of flare to the leg, and because of the fact that they're 100% leather, they're vintage, there's just so many keywords stacking up there that at a certain, like, they're moto, so there's so many keywords stacking up there that I think I can sell it faster than the sell-through rate says. And for $3, I'm willing to sit on them if I need to, because they sell, from the sales that I saw, we're selling around $40. Now this is what I would say is an older pair of Wranglers. So it has this, it's not necessarily super old. I would say this is probably still 80s, early 90s. But then you can see on the inside, it has, on the inside of the zipper, it has the style tag. And over here it will say made in the USA. Not all of the ones that have the inside sticker are made in the USA. Some are made in Mexico, made in USA, or made in Mexico with USA fabrics. They'll be made in Nicaragua, I've seen for these. So you definitely, just because it has that inside tag doesn't mean that it's guaranteed to be made in the USA. Again, vintage Wrangler, $20-25. It'll take a second, but again, for $3, I'm fine with that. These ones might be spoken for. So this is a brand called Edwin. This is a pair of made in Japan jeans. They are not selvage. I know your instinct is to be like, Japan selvage, ah! However, these are very nice. I have a buddy who may want them if they are the right size. Kind of a regular blue wash button fly pair of jeans. These sell for around $40 to $60, probably closer to $40 to $50. One of my buddies might have a claim on this depending on the measurements. If not, everything that you see in this video, by the time you watch this video, it will be listed in my eBay store, which will be linked below. Feel free to send me a friendly offer. Feel free to send me a message telling me that you came from this video, and I'm sure we'll be able to figure something fair out. We're in a little bit of a run of jeans right now. We're almost done with the jeans, and then we have a couple really, really sick items. This is a brand called Duluth Trading Co. And this is the Flex Ballroom jeans. These are carpenter jeans. Utility. Overall, these will sell for around $20 to $25. Duluth is a brand where it really depends on the piece from them, but I find that a lot of their pants that have a stylized name like this right over here generally end up doing pretty well. They make pretty good workwear, made in the style oftentimes of a Carhartt, etc. I'm not going to waste your time. This is another pair, same thing. It's got the Carpenter Duluth. It's got the Flex Ballroom jeans. And really the story for today was a story about patience. Like, I got there pretty early. I got there a couple minutes before 9. And they hadn't rotated any of the bins yet, and I was sitting around waiting there, and I realized, because I had been there yesterday, and I was there yesterday afternoon after they had stopped rotating, and I realized a lot of stuff was the same. And so I just kind of poked around a little bit, found a couple things, and put my feet up and just waited for the rotations to start. Then just kind of kick it, play some Sudoku on my phone, whatever it is. Then from there, when the next rotation would come, I would go ahead and do it. And they were kind of doing it one at a time. They were not doing it that fast. It was a weekend. They weren't fully staffed because of the weekend. They said that they're going to be doing it a little bit quicker during the week. I'll take their word at that and figure that out. But overall, I mean, for what I got, especially these next few items, there's going to be one kind of whatever mid, but after that, the two items following, you'll see why it was 100% worth it. Now, let me just go over this real quick. This is a pair of Brooks Brothers. It's kind of a men's drawstring, almost denim style. It's not denim, but it's made to have like a denim wash to it. And a pair of joggers, sweatpants, nothing crazy. $14.95, take the first offer. Send me $8 on it. These next two items I did not pay $3 for. As I was saying, this store has been kind of pivoted to be a clearance center for their other stores. While some of the stuff is coming from the other stores, not all of it is coming from the other stores. Some is just coming from direct donations still at that store. While I was waiting for a rotation, they rolled past a very small cart of shoes that were going up individually priced to the front. Now, all of their shoes, at least for today, were 50% off of the price. And so, knowing that, I glanced at the cart as it was going, and I saw these. And the first thing I said, because I know one of the staff there, he wasn't pushing the cart, but I was like, whoa, are those England? And he was like, I don't know. Go check. So I go to the front. These are a pair of burgundy, maroon, made in England Doc Marten boots. Now, they stopped making their boots in England. I don't know exactly when, but let's just comfortably say a while ago. I don't know the size of these offhand. I could figure it out. I'm guessing these are around at minimum an 11 or 12 men's. And really, really high quality. The quality on Doc Martens has definitely gone down once they started manufacturing in China and elsewhere. But the made in England ones are fantastic. You can tell because on the bottom, on the gum, it will say made in England. And these were $39.95, but half off, so I got these for $20. And these will comfortably sell for minimum 80, but I would say probably closer to 150 plus. And next up is a pair of Tony Lama cowboy boots. These sell in the 70 to 150 range, depending on the style. Again, I would have to double check the size on these, but again, I would say these are probably around a men's 12-ish, men's 11 or 12. These were priced at $34.95, so half off it was $17.50. Just a great score overall while I was waiting for some of the other bins to come out. And as we get into the last bag of stuff that I got today, I just want to stop for a second and say thank you for your patience. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this. Hopefully this is helpful for you. And I'm curious, do you have a favorite thing that you've ever found at a thrift? Do you have something that was just mind-blowing, something that you were like, oh my god, and whether you kept it or sold it is perfectly fine. But I'm curious if you've ever had that. Next up is a made in Italy Armani Collezione plaid check, whichever keyword you wanted to use, men's blazer. It's got a gray color to it. And I found a blazer, which for Armani, like, surprisingly, some of their pieces are not as good as you would think they are on the secondary market. And I would have gotten that at $3 no matter what. I don't want to sit here and sound pretentious. But it helps when you have the pants for the suit. And I did check, and these match. They're the same pants. And so, a full Armani suit, minimum 120 to 150. I could probably get more than that, depending on the comps. I didn't really check the comps. I found the jacket. I knew I could sell the jacket for a minimum of 40-ish, 30, 40, 50, 60-ish. And then I also knew that once I found the pants, it's automatically going to double the value of it. I didn't check the comps on these. Feel free to correct me below. One that I did check, and this is maybe a questionable buy, and this is kind of what I am saying with Armani, is, so this is Armani Collezione. This is their luxury line, and this is a men's button-down black herringbone dress shirt. Very good for, something like waitstaff, service industry, etc., etc., etc. Very high quality. This is a good shirt. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's not. It's made in Italy, etc. But when looking at the dress shirts, the sell-through rate is just not that great. And this is something I've sold, the Armani Collezione line specifically, before, and it is kind of lower mid-tier of the Armani lines. I don't actually know their full label hierarchy, but they do have a label hierarchy very similar to Ralph Lauren. This is Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville Men's XL, and it is a short sleeve Hawaiian style shirt, and it has I believe it's referencing Changes in Latitudes, which might be either a song or an album of his. Has a bunch of quotes all over it. Got a nice color and feel to it. I don't know the exact comps on this. I'll comfortably say 20. It might be 15. It might be 30. I don't really see it being more than that. Possibly because it's referencing a specific song / album. I don't know his catalog. But because of that, it might creep towards 40, but I think that's unlikely, and I probably wouldn't want to wait to figure that out. This was new to me. It's a brand called Western Welder, and this is like a heavyweight canvas pearl snap Western shirt. Some of them, when I was looking up comps, look like they're fire resistant. This one feels like it is, but I didn't see anything on the tags that said that, so I needed to look into it a little bit more and just see if all of their shirts are fire resistant and it's assumed, or if I need to not include that. But these seem to sell about 100% sell-through rate on these for around 40 to 50 bucks, a tiny bit more new. Also, that one has a tiny hole on it, I think on the side, so I'm going to have to disclose that. So let's just say 30 bucks. And I mentioned before how Armani has a different hierarchy of labels. This is the Emporio Armani Black Label, again made in Italy. This is the Jude line blazer. It is a single button black blazer. There was 5 of these listed and there were 2 of them sold, and the sales were around 80 bucks each. For 3 bucks, even if it's going to take a while, I'm happy to do that. Actually do that a lot with blazers, maybe a little bit too much, but at that margin. And that's kind of the thing with blazers. Even if they don't sell that fast, the margins on them are so good. Because even if you're paying 15 bucks for a blazer at a thrift, a bad blazer won't sell. But one that has sales volume, like a bad one, would sell for 30 or 40 bucks, usually. So that's one of the things that I like about the blazer section. The sell-through rate is usually way, way low. Like, they take a while to move, but when they do, it's usually a larger sale. This morning, while I was waiting for them to start rotations for the day, I found this in a bin that I probably went through yesterday. It is a Count Customs Las Vegas shirt. On the front, it's got the brand. On the back, it's got some big Count's Customs hit with the cross. Surprisingly, this t-shirt looks like it's selling for around 25 bucks really consistently. I don't know too much about it, but the reason that I looked it up was because even though this is a very modern screen printed shirt, it's the kind of thing where with car culture, with tuner culture, oftentimes there can be a shop that's very well respected, and I'm assuming without looking it up that that's what this is, that it's a shop that does custom auto work that is very well respected and maybe has like a TV show or a YouTube channel or something. Without knowing anything about them, feel free to tell me more about them below. And that's that. If you're into thrifting, vintage reselling, feel free to like and subscribe below. I'll definitely have more in the future. I do a few different styles of videos, so I'm not guaranteeing that every video on my channel is going to be like this. However, if this is cool to you, know that there's more coming. Again, thanks so much for watching. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.